Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 3 over 32 podcast. We're going to go straight into week one. A lot to talk about as the boys were buzzing at MetLife Stadium. We got to see the Giants and the Vikings both come crazy at each other's heads, but I don't want to call it too crazy. I just know Sam Darnold showed the hell off that game. We're going to go into a few little highlights, a few takes that we all liked from each other's games. A few standout players as well as overhyped players that we saw throughout the week. And then to bring it all full circle, we're going to throw out a Thursday night football best bets. Of course, you can check them all out on the Discord down below, in the comments section. I'll provide the link down below. And yeah, let's dive right into it. Come on, boys. Like the Vikings did show up. I know Matt, you were talking this nonsense all week. And
I
I mean,
wasn't.
like,
Nah, I
God
wasn't
awful.
talking. Not. I wasn't talking nonsense all week. I
it
was talking it
was
for like a month. It's even
all
worse.
right.
There's a
Yeah,
difference between
that's
nonsense and having hope. Matt, you had hope, but now it's just all faded
I
into
had.
nonsense, I
Yeah,
think.
exactly. It was nonsense that seemed like more like hope, but now it's just now it's just nonsense. Yeah.
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I just want to shout out the boys on the offensive line, especially Blake Brandell. He balled out this week. What a great guard we have up there, especially with Darisaw. Darisaw made Kayvon Thibodeau look like a you know piece of paper. Couldn't pressure the QB. I mean, the only one I could probably say is that really got any pressure on the defensive side for the Giants is Sexy Dexy. I'll give it to him. Maybe one sack, and I don't know if it was a forced fumble or not. Matt, I know you probably can chime in on that one.
Yeah. Our
he had
our
six he
rookie
had six
corner.
pressures too. He had six pressures.
Okay.
Dexter Lawrence is the only player that played well really on defense. A few of our rookies played decently well, but they didn't play many snaps. The new
Yeah.
corner we got, Drew Phillips, he caused the fumble in the first quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
Um,
We got so juiced up for
yeah,
this.
yeah, but
A
other than that,
a few other takes. I want to say Justin Jefferson, in my eyes, is still a top five wide receiver, especially with Sam Darnold throwing him the ball. I mean, it's kind of crazy to say that week one against the Giants, but that duo was kind of a little unstoppable. Yeah, there was a little here and there miscommunication, but to start out the gate with a touchdown, I think he had 46 yards and like six receptions. I'll take that. If he keeps reducing it at a high level and keeps on going up from there, we can see him in the top five. Um,
Easily, bro. Easily. I think even just the Vikings in general, like if Sam Darnold just keeps dude, if he just keeps playing like he played week one, man, you guys are gonna take a few games that you probably shouldn't take, to
See,
be honest.
this is where I dilute into. I feel like Sam Darnold and his name is such on an unusual high because we're not used to saying Sam Darnold being a winning quarterback. But right now, there's nothing to prove wrong. Like we play the Niners this week, but having this high intentions going to the Niners at home, that's going to be huge. Can Sam Darnold
Huge.
show up and keep it consistent?
I think it's gonna be a huge test, obviously, for you guys, and you can kind of really see, like, all right, how many games are we going to win if this game is close against the 49ers? You know what I mean? It's going to be like a really huge test for you guys. And, I brought it up to you, Greg, when we were talking earlier in this week, right? Sam Darnold was a highly touted quarterback at USC, was elite
He was.
when he came out in the first round in 2018. But you got to think, went to the Jets, dumpster fire. Went to the Panthers, dumpster fire.
That's the
Wasn't going to
fire.
play on the 49ers. You know what I mean? So he has never truly been able to prove himself with a worthy roster, which he has now, and he played well, dude. Fair play to the man.
Very true. I will say Jordan Addison had an injury, a lot of ankle soreness, not the same one from training camp, and just found out that he has a slim possibility. I think it was like a little bit over 50-50 that he could play against the San Francisco 49ers. We also saw what he did last year against them with the strip running down the middle of the field. Whole different roster now, but I mean, that lies on the defense to look great and look even better than we did it against New York. I mean, I still think there's major question marks in the secondary. This is a little too little hype up for you, Matt. Malik Neighbors did moss Stephon Gilmore It was a great catch. It was a great catch. Well performed, well contained, and he was double covered with Harrison Smith in the back, Stephon Gilmore in the front, and he just came up, snagged that baby.
Well, I mean, I think overall the game was really a mismatch on both sides of the ball. Um, in terms of just coaching, I think it was a mismatch. Defensively, you guys didn't
We had
allow
the we
you didn't put any pressure on the Daniel Jones. You didn't you didn't blitz. You didn't do any of that stuff. You sat back, you let him throw, and you let him run. And we saw this week that Daniel Jones, he doesn't have the same explosiveness he's had when he was a rookie, or even a couple years ago when they made the playoffs, and how well he was running that season. People, Giants fans specifically, we always saw Daniel Jones as, his running threat is a big
yeah
reason why they potentially like him as a QB, which I mean I'll go on about later, like my opinion on Daniel Jones, but it's
yeah.
just it didn't seem there, and I know it's week one, but the dude didn't have the
You didn't,
explosiveness. He didn't seem to make decisions quick enough whether he wanted to run or not as well, which is a whole nother discussion too. But that's how you guys play defense. You sat back, you allowed him to run, but you did not allow him to throw. You did allow him to throw because you know he's gonna make all these mistakes, but you didn't pressure him, you didn't blitz him, you didn't give him the lanes to help him run.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, there's
and you
also the concept
yeah,
of yeah.
go
There's
ahead.
also the
So
concept of the dual threat running games. No Saquon Barkley anymore, which we can dive into because Singletary did have a game, and he logically he did. He still performed. He's good, but he's not a Saquon Barkley, and we saw what he did for Philadelphia. And to feed off yours, yeah, I'll nod my head at Brian Flores here. We really did not blitz. Maybe we blitzed twice in that game that we saw. And the play of the game for me was the Van Ginkel pick six. That was beautifully well done, beautifully performed. The coverage was great on the left side. It just smacked it right in. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to say that's the play of the game for
I
me.
mean, you could say
Listen, man,
that was
I
Daniel Jones,
agree.
dude.
That was a great play by Van Ginkel. Don't get me wrong, like heads up, super short. But dude, Daniel Jones threw the most flower mound pass in that
That
sense I've ever seen, dude.
that was a
He eyed him down
combination
the
of
whole
stuff.
way.
It's not even that. Dable called this screen pass that everyone was able to tell like what was going to happen in the whole stadium. Everyone knew that was going to be a screen pass to Wandale or whoever it was going out to. And Daniel Jones, what he struggles with is failing to recognize that you can change. What I know at least is Dable allows him to change the play. He calls in two plays to Daniel Jones like every time apparently. So he had the chance to change the play knowing that everyone knew that this screen pass was coming. Yet he didn't change the play. He throws the pick. You could blame it on Dable. You could blame it on Daniel Jones. I think they deserve equal credit in terms of the blame. But it was a great play, Greg. I think it was a great play. That's a hard ball to catch. Like, it really
It
is.
is.
It,
So
it,
it was a
In
great
it's a
play.
theory,
hard,
it is.
especially being an outside linebacker, being played back deep. And you even said it before. We didn't pressure. He's playing back deep a little bit, came into the flat and just grabbed it. I think one handed and ran it in with two. Like I'll take that any day of the week from a dude we signed on a measly 2-year deal. And plus, he's not like your big names like Fred Warner or like Bobby Wagner or any concept of that. He's Van Ginkel. I mean,
Yeah.
the dude, the dude, the
Yeah.
dude's, the dude's the guy, man. Like that might be my next jersey. I'm not gonna hold you a nice Winter Warrior Van Ginkel jersey. That will be
There
sick.
you go, bro. That's going. That's going in the office there.
Oh, easily, easily. But now, since I got that out of the way, Matt, I know you're ready to go for it. But the last thing I gotta say
You
is
want me
that
to go or Will? You want me to go?
I'd be a lot quicker than Matt. I'll tell you that. But I'm still gonna go off on my team, dude.
the
All
last
right.
thing I gotta say is that the Giants are abysmal. That's it. Those 3 words. Giants
I
are abysmal.
I dude, we'll talk about it when Matt you goes, but dude, I might have some words of wisdom against that. I don't know. From what I saw,
Dude,
at least.
so I've been taking in a lot of media, like stuff on YouTube, certain content creators that do Giants stuff, people that aren't associated with Giants. They've been talking about the team too, and it's really sad to see where this team's gotten. You know, I remember as a kid seeing the team in 2007 win that Super Bowl ignited my fandom. Even though my grandpa was a Giants fan, that's originally why I've been a Giants fan. But you know that really ignited my fandom. I think a lot of people my age, we can all say that those 2007, 2011 Super Bowl runs are a major reason why we are Giants fans. And I think that's what happens with a lot of franchises. You know, you watch your team play really well, and it ignites your fandom. It makes you a diehard fan, and you know it's history after that. You know, you become a diehard fan because of winning, and I think right now we're seeing. I would go as far as saying a decline as a franchise that we have never seen in a metropolitan area like New York City, Philadelphia, you know, big time city before. And I'm worried for this franchise personally. So I'm gonna go through a few things that I think are the
I,
reason why what? Go ahead, Greg.
the New York Mets are pretty abysmal too. Well, now they're on a
They're good
hot
now.
streak, but
I mean,
that
I
They're
get
good
what you
now.
mean.
that was it was a long
Long,
dog days for the New York
long
Mets.
time coming for the New York Mets, dude. A long
No, I
time.
get it. I get it for sure.
Also, the Jets, the New York Jets are also. Anyway, go on.
But
I can go into that.
there's a
Yeah,
difference between being like a losing franchise for a long time compared to an absolute dysfunctional franchise, which you can argue that the Jets have been. But I wouldn't say that personally because I think the Jets, they've been drafting really well the last 5 or 6 years. They have been to AFC Championship game within our lifetime, and you know have been dominant teams before. They've had dominant teams before. But anyway, so
yeah.
I'm gonna start with ownership. The Maras have owned this team since its heyday in 1925. And they have been successful with the late Wellington Mara. So that's John Mara's father. John Mara inherited the team in 2005, 2004, 2005. Who was hired in 2004? Tom Coughlin. That's probably Wellington Mara's last real hire as a Giants owner. Tom Coughlin ends up going to win 2 Super Bowls, and like I said, it's history. Legends were made throughout that Super Bowl run. Fandom created. You name it. Ever
Yep.
since then, what has happened? John Mara has owned the team, has been full charge of the team, and he's gone through. First of all, Tom Coughlin was pretty much kicked out, and
Yeah, he was.
it was a bad relationship at the end of that between him and Mara. It was.
Didn't he go to the Jags? Didn't he go to the Jags after you
Yes,
guys?
Yes.
he was a I don't think it was a GM. I think he was president or something like that. I forget. But
He was on the board.
he was on the board. Yeah, he was higher up in their organization. But since then, McAdoo, Shermer, Joe Judge, Dable. How many other franchises can you say have gone 2 years with one
Okay,
coach
so
out, 2 years with one coach out, 2 years with one coach out, and finally onto their fourth head coach within 8 years? Go ahead, Greg.
I will justify Pat Shermer. I will. You guys took him away from the 2017 or 19. When was the
Shermer,
Minnesota Miracle? That was 19, right?
I think so. Yeah.
No, that was 17. 17. So hold on.
17 was McAdoo. So if you're talking Shermer, that's 18, 19.
Yeah, sorry. It was 18, 19. 18 was the Minnesota Miracle, and we made it to the NFC Championship that season. Pat Shermer went straight to the Giants. I'll give you guys that because Shermer ran our offense. It
I
was a
like
Mike
Shermer
Zimmer
too.
show. Mike Zimmer show in Minnesota. So I can't really say it's really there. Like maybe it's just bad tension within the GM to the head coach. Like maybe there's just bad tension there.
Well,
We
let
can see
me
it in the Hard Knocks. Oh yeah.
well let me finish because it's not just one. It's I mean it's been you could combine everything the last 8 years combined with everything that's been going
Okay.
on, not just that one instance. So I mean
Yeah.
they bring in Dave Gettleman the same time they bring in McAdoo, and actually I think it was Shermer they brought him in. Dave Gettleman drafts Daniel Jones. We all know what's happened since then. But at the same time, he's drafted our franchise left tackle. He's drafted our probably the best defensive tackle in the history of our franchise, and he's drafted complementary pieces that have been removed from the team since Joe Shane has come into office. And that I'm talking like Julian Love, I'm talking Xavier McKinney, I'm talking players that I wanted the team to keep. But anyway,
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon. I mean, exactly. I mean, they tore. Let me just stick what I was saying. So, GMs and head coaches change. Huge issue. No franchise it doesn't matter what sport can even tolerate head coaching changes every 2 years. It's just not possible. So that's one problem. Drafting. So that's what I was just getting into. Dave Gettleman drafts Daniel Jones. I mean, to be fair with Dave Gettleman, like John Mara is the reason Daniel Jones was drafted. I mean, it's pretty obvious. He thought he was the next Eli. He looks like Eli. He talks like Eli. I mean, he defended Eli every time he hired a new coach, every time he hired a new GM. He said, not Eli. He's defended Daniel Jones, sorry. He's offended Daniel Jones every time. He said, we failed him. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, enough of that. I mean, as much as I like to say coaches are important, players make coaches. I mean, let's be honest. You're not a successful head coach without good players. I mean, look at Bill Belichick. Once Tom Brady left, look, he didn't do anything. So, I mean, if there's any other way to show that it's proof that players make head coaches, I mean, look at that. But anyway, the drafts have been bad.
I will say Daniel Jones was selected right before Josh Allen, though. In that draft.
That was defensive end Josh Allen, not the Josh Allen with the Bills.
I'd rather have Josh Allen the defensive end.
I mean, I did too, and most Giants fans did. But yeah, the drafting has been terrible. I mean, let's just go right to Joe Shane's tenure. In my opinion, he has failed in his first. Remember, Kayvon Thibodeau. That draft, I don't think Kayvon Thibodeau is a very good player right now. All he's done is played very well against Commanders, and has gotten. I'm serious. I mean, I've watched every game. He doesn't show up very often. All the sacks he's gotten are coverage sacks. It's just.
I mean,
in my opinion,
folded. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Darisaw folded him like a piece of paper. So, like, I saw the film like 3 times. Dude was out to the left corner grabbing a snack in the MetLife, parking lot. I don't know where Kayvon was. It was just like upsetting to me, especially with that defensive line. I'm sorry.
Fifth overall. He's fifth overall pick. When you draft someone 5th overall, that's got to be one of your best players on the team, hands down. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Kayvon Thibodeau is not top 5 player on the team. Maybe he's 5th. I don't know. But either way, you're supposed to be 5th overall. You're supposed to be the best player on the team. Period. Evan Neal, 7th overall. The dude's kicked off the team pretty much. They're done with him. They've replaced him in free agency because they had to. So that's another reason why they got rid of Saquon, to get O-line help. Guess what? If the drafts that they just had were successful, they wouldn't need O-line help because they would have drafted a good O-line. It's just that simple. I mean, then let's get to – I mean, I could go on and on about the draft, but in my opinion, Joe Shane has been a terrible drafter. And I think it's proven considering how the Giants have gotten worse ever since he's gotten here. Bad contracts. Daniel Jones. I mean, is there anything else I need to say?
It's horrible. It's horrible.
$40 million a year.
And I'll be honest with you, I was one of the first people to be like, let's see what happens. Like, I don't want to just shit on this really quickly, but I'm done with it now. It's the worst franchise behind Deshaun Watson in probably the modern NFL era. I mean, I can't.
Signing?
Well, just signing extension. Either way, I mean, it's probably one of the worst. Like, it's the worst player to ever get a big contract ever. I would say, it's probably the worst player ever to get a big contract. I can't think of anyone else in terms of positional value to QB wise. Worst QB to ever get a big contract.
Yes.
I think it's easier to say. I mean, Deshaun Watson might be passing that soon if he plays like this still, but I mean, another thing too.
Go ahead. Hold on, just to jump in here real quick, dude. I mean, Greg, talking about like the PFF stuff, right? Do you know where they preseasonally ranked Daniel Jones in terms of quarterbacks in the league? He was ranked 36th. That's behind backup,
I saw that.
Dude. He's ranked 36th going into this year as a starting quarterback for the New York Giants. That can't happen. You cannot have that. You cannot sit here and statistically be worse than backup quarterbacks and expect to play in a New York market. You can't. So I just want to jump in there and
No,
throw that
I
in there.
agree.
It's just baseline statistics, and they had these statistics obviously before the contract extension even happened at the beginning of this year. So
But
it's a
no, it
huge
wasn't.
problem.
The extension didn't happen at the beginning of this year.
Well, I'm talking.
It happened
That year,
after. Oh,
2022.
Yeah. Like,
2022
okay,
was
yeah.
his
Well,
best year. That was his best year,
and it wasn't
statistically.
even that great. Yeah, it's like statistically, he threw for 15 touchdowns, ran for like 5 touchdowns. Like, come on, dude, that's terrible.
But that was
still.
that's when you had all your weapons. Saquon Barkley.
And you know what's funny
you
though?
still had. Yeah, go on.
His best, in my opinion, his best statistical year with Pat Shurmur. He threw for 24 touchdowns, and I think he had like 12 picks. So, I mean, how do you have your best season as a rookie?
Dude made Case Keenum look like a god in
Yeah.
Minnesota when he was there.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
but it trickles up the tree instead of down. It goes.
Yep.
But that's what gets me to the Joe Shane stuff as well. It's like, how are you a professional general manager and people outside the sport can be calling out things and you don't even like seem to care? It's almost like he doesn't care that Daniel Jones is being paid so much money. It's really just arrogance with him now, I feel like, and the lack of I don't know, it just seems like he doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, he's a rookie GM, and he's trying to build something from the ground up without literally any identity of a team. I don't know what type of team he's trying to build. I know every team has an identity in terms of just grit, determination, certain skills. Like, I don't know what the Giants are. I really don't. What are you gonna say?
Go on, Will. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, you're at a point where the amount of just question marks that you have, like getting back to just the totality of the franchise and seeing the decline of the franchise. We bring up the Jets a lot. We all hate on the Jets, but they have, like you said, Matthew, for the last 6 years, they've been drafting well. They brought in pieces and they brought in veterans and they brought in some kind of leadership in the locker room. And they say, all right, they have a clear direction. Now, Salah's not the guy. We know that. I think they have F-tier coaching. However, they do have the players. They do have the players in that roster who are going to be excellent for years to come. And you can't say that about a lot of these guys in the Giants. Malik Neighbors, we saw him one game. Is he going to be great? I think he can be. But that's one man. You can't tell me that any of those other players are on the trajectory that some of the players on the Jets are. And if you are a franchise that doesn't have direction, what are we doing? What are you playing for at this point, right? What is the Giants' season? What is the goal this year?
That's the thing. They sign Brian Burns to one of the highest paid defensive end hybrid linebacker contracts in the history of the NFL. What team goes for a contract like that when they're quote unquote rebuilding? What team does that? The Panthers, in my opinion, outclass just completely is chess against the Giants and Panthers for this number 1 overall pick. Because the Panthers are rebuilding. They're getting rid of all their pieces, blah, blah, blah. They send one of those pieces to the Giants, who's just as bad? What team does that? What team is trying to rebuild yet has 90% of their contracts as rookie contracts, and then the 10%, which takes up probably 80% of their cap space, as just like maybe 5 players just are dominating all the cap space for the team while the rest are just rookie contracts? Like, there has to be a balance. I don't know. Go ahead, Greg. What are you going to say?
I don't mean to, offend or go into a whole different direction. I did want to say this kind of reminds me of that 2018 to 2022 Cleveland Brown run. Do you remember the Cleveland Brown run? They just got Baker Mayfield. They had Josh Gordon. The boys were buzzing. They also come after the Johnny Manziel situation. The coaching was all messed up. Hugh Jackson, like it goes in so many different directions, and that's what we're talking about here.
It's very
Because
similar.
you have the head coaches cycling and cycling and cycling. Then you have massive contracts getting dealed out on prosperous prospects that we see in free agency, or putting out this Evan Neal situation draft pick or a Kayvon Thibodeau draft pick. You're spending that on players that you can probably draft in the second round, but logically, it's kind of the very reciprocal here. It's just happening at a later point, and it's definitely happening in the worst market in the NFL. New York, which I will go into the other side, the fans, that game was disgusting to see a person that loves the NFL, the fans be so, I don't want to say disrespectful, but blame it on one dude.
I'm
That's
not
that's just
I'm not
yeah.
blaming it
Go
on
on.
Daniel Jones anymore though. I'm done with that. I'm blaming it on everybody. I'm ready to blame it on John Mara number 1 because I think he needs to sell the team if there's any hope of this franchise changing around. I'm blaming on Joe Shane number 2 because Joe Shane has done an awful job. Not awful. Like look at the Hard Knocks. I
Yeah.
watched it and all the people who are really, in the NFL, like ex-GMs, blah blah blah, you name it. Pat McAfee did it. All of them were just being like, "This guy's a joke for how he treated Saquon. This guy has no idea what he's doing when he's drafting these
Yep.
players. This guy has no idea how to deal with the cap space or what type of team he's building." That's all I was hearing during all this. How,
And
as a Giants fan, am I supposed to feel knowing that it's literally a clown show going on in the background, and the fans are supposed like I get what you mean, like the fans were rough that game, but it's all of this stuff combined, dude. It just all builds up, and we're tired of it. And
I
I
mean,
think all the fans see this as a
yeah.
failing franchise, and it's been like that
all
for years.
all I gotta say is though, like having fans lined up outside of MetLife and only boo Daniel
Yeah,
Jones,
I didn't agree with that. I didn't agree
Yeah,
with
no,
that.
that's
you
like
can't. That's
that
classist. You can't be doing that.
I didn't agree with that.
and like me and we were talking about that. Like imagine, Kirk Cousins last year. As much as I hated Kirk Cousins on the Vikings his whole tenure, I never booed the man. I would be like, well, thanks, Kirk. You just screwed us for our playoff run. But like you get
Like,
over it. It's more deal. It's a team sport. You
but
can't
he
blame it
knows
on
he did
one
bad.
individual.
You don't need to boo
Yeah,
him after the game. Like he knows he played
exactly.
bad. Like come on,
Like,
you don't need to do
and
that.
this goes for a future projection. I truthfully think you guys are going to get spanked by the Commanders now because you have no fan base behind you, and that gets a lot to Daniel Jones. He had to go get media trained to go speak to the public about what happened. He even said it's
Yeah.
not a single person's game; it's a team sport. Why am I only getting booed? Sexy Dexy also backed him up, and then there was players that totally shaded him in the locker room. It's a That's a cancerous situation for especially a franchise going through these matters. I'm sorry, I had to get that out. That was
No,
just like
no,
on my.
I'm with you. I'm with you,
It
and
was just like,
it's
dude,
sad. I mean, it's sad. It's really sad, and I do think the Giants are going to be really, really bad this year now, and it's hard not to see that happen. I mean, it's hard not to see them just be a 2-win team this year now. Like it's just hard not to see it. But a few other things I want to get to real quick. It won't take long.
mm-hmm.
MetLife Stadium sucks. I mean, people have been shitting
We've
on
been
Met.
knowing that, man.
People have
We've
been
been knowing
shitting
that.
on MetLife Stadium since it's came about. So now we have a shit franchise. Jets were also, I mean, Jets fans were saying they were shit franchise too. Not now, but for all those years, we have two shit franchises playing in a shit stadium with a shit atmosphere, shit everything. How's it like? How much worse can you get? Like, tell me any positives right now about this team, because you could go as deep as the fucking stadium talking about how
Yeah.
bad things have been. I mean,
I mean,
it's
we can
bad.
talk. We can talk about your division rival. I mean, look at the Washington Commanders. They have literally the worst stadium. I've been there. You know what I'm doing for the 32 stadiums. I'd rather spend a night in MetLife Stadium than spend a night at the Washington FedEx Field. There is no way I will ever sit there. They put a Hall of Famer who died, statue, whole gear, on a plastic, artificial, replicated. It looked like a mold, brother. It looked like a mold made out of wires, but it was all plastic. Sean Taylor, you're putting the GOAT safety up there to be displayed to the public. And oh man, if I can get the picture, you know what I'm talking about. It's
Yeah.
like you can't even make a statue out of the kid.
I guarantee
Uh,
you, whenever they build that next stadium, though, it'll be nice. I
uh,
mean,
uh, they better after.
it will be.
I mean,
With how
It
stadiums
will
are
be, but
now,
yeah,
it will
no,
be.
I agree with you, Matt. I think the whole stadium atmosphere is just not good, even when it is good, right? And we remember last year how excited everyone was against Dallas week 1. I mean, you had like, everyone waving their phones around and everything. Like it was a great atmosphere, and then just get blown out 40-0.
what is
Um,
that?
Yeah,
What is that
that's terrible. Yeah.
in the middle of the stadium? I'm sorry, Will.
so yeah, I think fundamentally and systematically, it's just been a declining franchise. But I mean, just quick to jump in here, kind of circling back a little bit, just to again ask a question to Matt you about the Daniel Jones thing. Do you think going into just talking a little bit about Sunday against the Commanders, I think, in my personal opinion, I think he's got one half left. If he doesn't put together a solid drive, you have to put someone else in there.
Well,
You
I
have to.
I thought about it for a bit, and Drew Lock's not good. Drew Lock's
They
not
can't be.
good,
They
dude.
can't be. They can't be worse.
I'm not saying he's gonna be worse, but I don't think there's anyone on that. Tommy DeVito's not good, Greg. As much as the hype he brought around the Giants for a bit, I mean, it is New York City too. I mean, it is New York metropolitan area, and just things get overblown all the time. But yeah, I mean, Tommy DeVito's not it, obviously. But my problem is that they're gonna stick with Daniel Jones on at least to the bye week. I mean, it's gonna happen. They paid him $40 million. Joe Shane's his neck is on the line, dude. Now, because Giants fans are gonna be pushing at him. I mean, it's gonna be bad. So he has to stick with the dude he paid. If you bench Daniel Jones now, you're pretty much waving the white flag, and I don't think they
You're
can
just
afford
yeah.
doing that. It's
Well,
gonna
you're
get
pretty much
real ugly. What, Greg?
you're building your own coffin. And if we're talking about the metropolitan area, New Jersey, Tom DeVito grew up in New Jersey. He's a New Jersey born and bred. The people want to see Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito's worth
That
putting out over Drew Lock. I'll agree with you there. Yeah.
I would
they're
agree
gonna
with
want to.
that, but I think just from a coaching standpoint, from a Dable standpoint, how are you going to sit there game in and game out and let this performance continue to happen? Sports are all about momentum and creating a spark. You have to somehow create a spark within that team. If that's putting DeVito in at halftime against the Commanders, if I'm Dable, that's what I'm going to do. That is 100% what I'm going to do. I don't know what
Sorry.
that was, but that's
That
what I'm going to do.
means, hey, no, but and
It
I agree.
means got a spark, man.
Yeah,
He
dude.
needs a spark, dude.
Nah,
Um,
Dable. I mean, I hate to say it, but Dable, he might lose his job, and probably won't even be his fault.
hold on,
Like,
hold
which
on, hold on.
sucks. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Going into now, let's say you guys end 3-14. Who gets fired first, Dable or Daniel Jones?
I mean, Daniel Jones is done no matter what, I think.
yeah,
But
he
if they're
won't
a
be in a
package,
Giants uniform after this year.
nah, he won't be in the Giant. So I'd have to say Daniel Jones. But if we're talking Dable being fired, if it's 3-14, yeah, he's fired. Yeah. Then every time the Giants have hired a new head coach, 4-13, 4-12, 3-13. So I mean, if we're going on that, yeah, he'll be fired.
I think they're both toast.
I mean, yeah, I want Joe Shane out then too, because when Joe Shane came in, him and Dable were a package deal. So I think they
See,
both got to go.
I don't think the Giants would do that though. They would clear out the GM, the head coach, and the starting quarterback that they paid. What you have paid 160 million? Yeah, you can trade it, but what team's gonna want to take on that contract?
The dude's never going to be on a team again after he leaves the Giants. No, he won't
He'll
even
be a
be.
backup.
He
He'll
won't
be a
even be a
backup somewhere. I
maybe,
think he will.
Yeah,
I
he'll
think
be
maybe.
a
he will.
backup.
He'll be a
He
backup
would.
somewhere just from the experience of starting NFL games alone. That's just what it is. But I do agree with
And he
Greg.
won a playoff game.
Yeah, but we're putting that way too much on a pedestal, bro. If you want to compare two things, when we're talking about the Cleveland Browns from 2018 to 2022, they made the same mistake, right? Baker Mayfield led that team to a playoff. They didn't even win. They led him to a playoff game. He got paid. He was shit the next year. The rest of that team got paid. They were shit the years after. So we're putting listen, if Daniel Jones miraculously guided them to a Super Bowl run like we went on in 2021, okay, then it's like, all right, fair enough. We're going to do whatever we can to keep these players around the program, around the organization. But winning one playoff game
doesn't mean shit.
Again, I understand
they
that
weren't
you won a
even
playoff
that
game
good.
and you make it.
They weren't that good though.
No, they were not good.
They went 1-4 in the division that year.
I understand that.
Matt, we had this argument for hours. You guys and it stays at this rate. That season, you guys beat Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I agree with you now. I agree.
I mean, logically, that was one of his best seasons he's ever had in his career, I believe. But Will, go on. What were you saying? Feeding off of it.
I was just saying, like I said, with the direct comparisons, I think you use a great point between the Browns in that era and the Giants now. We put so much. Obviously, yes, it's extremely hard in the NFL to make the playoffs and then to win a playoff game. But again, winning a playoff game does not dictate how your franchise is going to continue to perform over the next 5 to 6 years. It's just not. Again, if it would be a different story if it was a Super Bowl run or an NFC Championship run, like then you're putting together 2, 3, 4 games of really good football, and you're saying, okay, these are the players that emerge from that. These who we're going to keep. You can't fall into that trap of we won a playoff game. We're not going to look to, expand on what we're doing here.
Joe Shane's motto is to compete while rebuilding. There's no such thing. No. You're either going to go 3-14, start over, and build off that, or you're going to be a good team. You're going to be consistently a 9, 10, 11 win team. And then if you're really good, you'll be elite and be the 12, 13, 14 win teams.
Exactly.
There's no such thing as a team that is competing while rebuilding. It's just not a thing. And Joe Shane, because of that, I think he has it all wrong.
So I can throw this out there. I believe we rebuilt. It all started once Mike Zimmer went gone. We got rid of our veterans, that whole entire defense, which was great. You remember the 2017 Minnesota Viking defense. I thought it was great. Then we bring in Kirk Cousins, draft Justin Jefferson. That's a competing roster. We competed, and right now I'm in that loop of, are we in the rebuild? So it kind of folds out, but we are kind of in the same, I don't want to say we're in the same situation, but we have that rebuild if we need, but also compete because we have J.J. McCarthy coming on the back burner next season.
But that's the thing. It's like you guys aren't signing these huge contracts for multi-year contracts like Brian Burns. You guys aren't signing
Justin Jefferson.
But that's worth it. But that's worth it though. He's the best wide receiver in the league to some people. Brian Burns isn't the best defensive player in the league, and nowadays wide receivers are worth more than any position on the field. I mean, and they're more valuable than any position on the field. There's a difference there. You can sign
Justin Jefferson, the president.
You can sign Justin Jefferson and rebuild because you're gonna have him on that. You're hoping to have him on that team until he retires. Because he's gonna be the best player on your team till he retires, most likely. That's why.
But it's gonna be. This is where it's all gonna lie. Like if J.J. McCarthy doesn't work out, what are we gonna lie into? A rebuild.
But we're like. I hope, for a Giants' sake, Andrew Thomas is a franchise left tackle. That's a really important position. We have that locked down. But other than that, I mean, Dexter Lawrence, you could argue too. But defensive tackle is not one of the most important positions in the league. Left tackle is, wide receiver is, and QB is. I mean, those are the most important three. So
middle linebacker.
Middle linebacker is important too. But I like the Brian Burns trade and signing that Giants did until you really look into it and see how bad this team is roster-wise. It just doesn't make sense anymore to me. It just doesn't make sense. That's why I think that you guys are better because you're not signing just for the hell of it good players. You're drafting good players and then signing them, or you're drafting older players like Gilmore for a year to help with. Because you needed him. I mean, and you have an old team right now. But I guarantee you, your contract situation in a year or two is going to be amazing because you'll have fresh legs, you'll have young players, you'll have people that deserve long-term contracts at that point, not old players.
So going into the contract situation, the salary cap, I said this earlier on in our earlier podcasts, we're projected the highest salary cap coming into next year because we totally botch Kirk Cousins' dead cap after this season.
Well, that sucks.
And we can bring in everything that we want when need be. And we still signed Justin Jefferson to this record-breaking deal. But yeah, I can see where you're at in the rebuild, but you can't rebuild off of strictly nothing. Like you got to get rid of either 2 of the 3 pieces, or
it's just stupid. It's just because the Giants got rid of players that I love, dude, on defense. Julian Love, Xavier McKinney are 2. They are balling out right now. I mean, it's been one game for Xavier McKinney with Green Bay, but guess what? I'm pretty sure he got a pick 6 that game.
He did. No, he got a pick.
Oh, pick. It wasn't a pick 6. Yeah. But still, it's like, and then Julian Love also got a pick in the first game this year, I think, for the Seahawks. It's like
that was a sick pick. I'm not gonna lie. That was a sick
Julian Love's legit, and they both played. One was strong safety, one was
corner.
Julian Love, I think they both played safety, but they did like cover 2 type stuff with each other.
Free safety, strong safety.
Yeah, free safety, strong safety type of deal. I think Xavier McKinney was more the strong safety, but man, it's like if you can't sign both those 2 guys and keep them on the roster long term, and then you draft bad, and you can't replace them, what are we doing? Yeah. Are you just being you're just trying to create your own team? Yeah, but how about stick with the building blocks here and then build off of it? But Joe Shane refuses to do that. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
But I want to say one more thing. So it's going to be tough for me to support this team this year. It will be. And as much shit, I'm going to start just supporting some players, low key. Like I'm going to just be supporting a few players around the league, dude. And this is going to hurt to say. This is going to hurt to say. Not hurt, but it's going to sound weird to say, I'll say. I love Saquon. And Saquon has always been my favorite player. I'm not supporting the Eagles, all right? So I'll get that away. I'm not supporting the fucking Eagles at all. But if Saquon balls out this year and he plays hella nice and he's going crazy, I'm going to be happy for him. And I'm going to be happy for fucking Saquon because that dude literally just escaped the worst situation he could have with this team. So good for him. Good for him to get out of here. Good for him to get paid. And good for him to stay local where he used to grow up and actually be on one of the best teams in the league. So good for him. I'm rooting for Saquon this year. I hope the Eagles still suck. I don't want him to win a Super Bowl or anything. But if he gets like 25 touchdowns this year, good for him, bro. So I'm rooting for him.
Very fair.
Hey, our last episode, Matt. We got that plus 1,000 Saquon Barkley rushing yards. I'll take it. Dude,
it's gonna
make
happen.
me a quick 2,100. I'll be fine.
Well, yeah, and it's gonna happen all year long, though. I mean, he's gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
And I hope Joe Burrow does well. I love Joe Burrow. I know he has injury problems, always has, but if he stays healthy, I think he'll bounce back. So
no love for the purple. It's because he whooped your ass on week 1.
I mean, you guys don't have any players I'm really into. Justin Jefferson's cool, but he's like one of the best players in the league. I mean, it's like, he already has enough popularity. He doesn't need to. Yeah, Van Ginkel. Yeah, sure.
BG.
The BG, dog. All right, so the moment we've all been waiting for, the Bengals lost to the Patriots week 1.
All right, man, we're here, man. We are here. All right, listen. I'm gonna start by saying this. I'm gonna start by saying 224 yards of total offense is just abysmal, dude. It is abysmal. The fact that we had the entire summer to get ready for the statistically worst franchise roster-wise in the NFL, and we put out that goose egg week 1 is absurd to me. And the other thing that I don't understand, right? Ever since Zach Taylor has come into the Cincinnati Bengals as a head coach, right? The year we started the Super Bowl, we started 1-3. 2022, we started 0-3. 2023, we started 0-3. Why does it take a whole month for this team to play a complete game of football. I don't get it, dude. To be consistently great, you have to play good football week 1 to week 18. If you want to make the playoffs, you want to win the division, you want to get out of the AFC, which we know is insanely hard.
Oh yeah.
Why are we shooting ourselves in the foot for the first month of the season?
It's crazy.
I don't get it, bro. And 224 yards of total offense, man, is terrible. Joe Burrow, he was 21 for 29, 165 yards. Whatever, dude. Fine. He didn't turn the ball over. He threw the ball well, but the offensive play calling, it boggles my mind, man. I don't understand these plays that we're running, bro. Zach Taylor is just like he was in year 1. Granted, we did go to a Super Bowl somehow, but I'm just sitting here scratching my head. We have one of the, even without T. Higgins there, we have a great receiving core. We have Joe Burrow. Why are we giving the ball to Zach Moss on 3rd and 9? Why are we running these short out routes on 2nd and 12? What are we doing? Throw the ball up. Let Jamar, let Andre Inosovis, let Jermaine Burton go up and get it because they can. I don't get why we're so reserved on the offensive side of the ball. That's always been our strong suit. And the defense played okay. They somehow made Jacoby Brisket look 10 trillion times better than I ever thought that he possibly could, but they still only held them to 16 points. So in my book, okay, fair enough. We didn't get blown out, but I don't get it. If our offense is our entire identity, how are we getting 224 yards of it? I don't get it, man.
I will say your offense looked so lost that game.
Yeah, it looked disjointed and connected. And look, I'll give a shout out. Another podcaster on Matt, you and Nick Diamond, our boy, right? You guys kind of had to go on it in your podcast, right? Talking about preseason games, people sitting out, not playing. Our offense basically did not play the entire preseason, and it's that exact point. We looked disjointed, disconnected. The timing was off. Throws were missed. Run plays blocking were not picked up, right? Defenses were not read. Yeah, you can sit out the whole preseason because we're so damn injury prone. Okay, fair enough. I understand Joe had a major surgery last year. I understand, things are going on, but at the end of the day, you need snaps against live competition before the season starts. And the other thing that I want to do, go ahead.
There's something I got to say about that. I believe that should be a rule change in the NFL. Your starters should have to play at least one drive throughout the 3 games, whether they like it or not. And
I totally agree.
If Jamar Chase wanted to do what he did and call baby and get the 1 penny over and say, nah, if I'm gonna get 1 penny over, I'm gonna kick Jamar's ass and I'm gonna go for the bag. No, it's not gonna happen. I think the NFL should make all starters start at least 1 week in the preseason, keep the potential going, keep the momentum going into week 1. And NFL, if you can listen and hear me out, man, it makes the week 1 spectacular that you love promoting the most competitive football that we've seen in decades. Besides the playoffs. You think about it. If you had Joe Burrow in week 3 of preseason throw balls to T. Higgins, Chase Brown, Mike Gesicki, Tremaine Burton, Iggy, dude, that team would not be as lost as they were against the New England Patriots.
It was just a complete, like you said, everyone just looked lost, man. It was completely disjointed on offense. And like I said, for a team that has created this entire identity about being explosive, having great receiving core, having great runners, having a great quarterback, none of them came to play on Sunday. And that is, look, I will always say, and we always say, there's no easy games in the NFL. We know that. But man, at home against the statistically worst roster in the league, week 1, you cannot be shooting yourself in the foot with a loss. We got to go into Arrowhead next week.
You guys rep the all orange, didn't you?
Yeah, it was the first time we repping the all orange.
And the brand new jerseys.
Now we have to go in week 2 into Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Off the back of that? Dude. Bro, I'm sitting here and thinking that we're going to lose by 30. But the thing that's keeping the saving grace here, and I mentioned it to you guys, right? Somehow, we have been, over the past 4 years, the only team that has found a way to stop Patrick Mahomes in his place. Even last year, the last week of the season, with Jake Browning at quarterback, right? That was only a 6-point loss. And we played well. We gave Jake Browning the opportunity to win the game at the end. Yeah, he got sacked. History, whatever, to get into the playoffs. But we play the Chiefs so well, and Zach Taylor always comes out with the most perfect game plan. But against the Patriots, we can't muster more than a single touchdown. I like it. Just boggles my mind the inconsistency of this team.
Hold on. The touchdown problems all goes back to your offense being lost, and that is pretty much Gesicki's fumble that was literally a turnover.
That was
bad.
yeah.
And then you have Tremaine Burton's drop in the end zone.
Yes.
That was
'cause
bad
he couldn't
too.
hold on to the
That was
ball.
terrible,
And-
dude.
And then you had Iggy, what's his name? Andy.
Andre Inosobis.
Yeah,
It's
like,
a different
dude, like,
game if few of those things go your way, though.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
agree with that. But still,
Like-
the offensive production wasn't there. The drives, the amount of 4-and-out drives that we had, we only had
that's very
9
true.
first downs the whole game.
You are the
You
only
can't win a
NFL
game
team.
with 9 first downs. You can't.
The
just
Bengals are
can't.
the Bengals are the only NFL team to this day that I can go on TV and watch them run the ball on 3rd and 8. Four out of the 8 times.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. And the thing is, I always say this too, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Why 3 drives in a row, it's 3rd and more than 5, are we handing the ball off, man? For what? It's not even a screen pass. It's let Joe Burrow throw the ball. What's the problem with that? That's how we got to a Super Bowl. That's how we got to an AFC championship, man.
Is there?
I will. Yeah, go on.
I was gonna
Sorry,
ask: do you think there's like a little bit of just tension in the locker room because of the contract situations, even with T and Jamar?
I agree.
Oh,
yeah. So that was my last point, which I was going to get to. I think it's exactly that. I think that there's definitely something going on in the locker room, just by how we could see them play. Getting back to how just disjointed everything was. I mean, Jamar had 6 catches for 62 yards. I'm glad he played, but I will tell you this: I lost major respect for the guy. Any professional athlete that still has 2 years left on their remaining deal and is asking for the stuff with Jay Jettas, like, it just shows me that clearly you don't want to be here. You don't want to be here. If that's
what it seems like.
If that's all it takes for you to flip a switch like that, you clearly don't want to play here. So
Trade
if
him.
that's the case, then leave. Yeah. Then
I think you
walk
guys
out
trade
the door.
him. I think Bengals trade him for I don't know what other receiver didn't go for right now, to be honest.
I don't know what it would be. I don't know what it would be, but I don't think we're pushing the panic button just yet, just because I'm so used to the past 4 years that
2 years left on his contract too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it shouldn't even be. It should be a non-issue right now, right? But I'm saying I'm not fully hitting the panic button yet because I have seen this every single year for the past 4 years. We start the season off terribly and then we start picking up games, but the thing is you just can't do that, man. In the NFL, you don't have the amount of games that you have in the NBA, the MLB, the MLS, all these other leagues. You have 17 games. If you lose the first 3 of them, you're now making up 5 times the effort that you have to put in. And again, we have the hardest division, arguably the hardest division to play in football. The Steelers, the Ravens, and the Browns, right? Now the Browns look pretty awful, which I was happy about, but at the end of the day, it's still a dogfight for the division. And if you're dropping a game to the Patriots week 1,
that's the easiest game on your schedule.
That's the easiest game
That's
on the
the
schedule.
problem.
Now we gotta go into Arrowhead week 2, dude. I don't know. It just in the same breath, how the Vikings are now going to go and play the 49ers next week. Both of those games will dictate how the entire rest of the season will go for our teams. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah.
If we go into Arrowhead and we lose by 30, dude, we're going to be in the same boat. We're going to be going 4 or 5 wins, man. That's just what it is.
I love how you just said that. The spread right now is at 5.5, and the total is 47.5. They're favoring the Chiefs by 5.5 points. And low key, I can probably say I'll take the plus 5.5 for the Bengals.
I would too. That's a lot. They're
It's a
showing a
lot.
Five and
lack
a
of
half.
respect to the
Showing a
Bengals
lack
I'm
of
right
gonna.
now.
respect, but the thing is, why would they not after that week 1 performance,
Yeah, I
dude? And the whole
guess.
preseason, we're 0-4 right now. We didn't win a preseason game either.
So
So
also,
it's ridiculous, man.
I want to bring it back because I missed over or I didn't get to say this. You lost your locker room guy in Joe. Low key, you can
Joe
say Joe
Mixon,
Burrow.
yeah.
Joe Burrow's that. Joe Mixon is your locker room guy and was your locker room guy for the longest. Balled for y'all, and he balled week 1, which is in the standout players of the week for us. But like, dude, like
Yeah.
he definitely mediated that whole situation between Jamar T, Joe. Like it was just
I
like,
think there's gonna be a lot that comes out in the next month of what's going on in that locker room right now with everything that's been talked about so far with the contracts and just the willingness to play for this team, man. And I'm a big proponent of I don't care how bad we are, I want players that want to play for the Cincinnati Bengals, dude. I don't care. And if it's Jamar, he's my favorite player, just like Saquon was for you. But at the end of the day, dude, completely different situation. I still somewhat believe in our ownership. We've drafted well, we built what we have now. If there's that guy in the locker room that's just constantly asking to leave or constantly asking for a stupid contract in the middle of the one that he already has, then go, man. Go.
yeah,
I don't want you
yeah.
on my team. I don't care who it is, man. I don't want you on the team if you don't want to play for us.
For all the Joe Burrow haters out there as well, his hand's fine. Joe Burrow's
And
hand is
it's
fine.
it's
Yeah.
fine. And I will tell you this: the offensive line looked very good. Finally,
His,
the offensive
it's,
line looked very good, man. So
this is
we
you're talking
finally,
about
we
the Patriots
finally,
here.
I know that, but still, we finally fix the one thing that everyone thought we needed, and now everything's just completely gone to shit. So I don't know.
I think you should just be in the same even playing field with offense with me because we played the Giants. Yeah, the defensive line switched up. Only one that mattered was Sexy Dexy. The Patriots lost Matthew Judon. They traded
Yeah,
him 2 weeks before week 1 even started against y'all. So clearly that was the best pass rusher. I know my boy's going to kill me because I'm saying all this, but like he can probably give you more of a diagnostic over their defensive line. We'll see him this weekend and live stream it on Sunday for when we go through it. But I'm telling you, that defensive line on paper is not great,
the whole roster on paper is horrible.
horrendous,
It's
and
horrible.
you should still be a little bit higher up and feel a little bit better knowing, right, maybe this was the little get her off my hands, get her off my pants. All
That's
right.
that's what that's what I'm saying. I'm used to it, man. It's been this way for 4 years.
It's fair
We've
enough.
lost. We've won one game in September in the past 4 years, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, too, come Sunday at 4:25 p.m. Eastern
If
Standard
we,
Time.
dude, if the Cincinnati Bengals go into Arrowhead week 2 and win, bro,
Ooh,
I will
I'm hoping for it.
I will literally drink candle wax
That'd
live
be
on stream.
sick.
I don't care, dude. I will
Yeah.
do. I'll eat my shoe. I'll eat my Nike slide on pod
That would be
You
if
don't
they
want,
go
amazing if they
in.
win. That'd be
dude. You don't want to
amazing.
know what I would do if the Vikings just snail out a win over the Niners after
That'd
that
be
performance we
insane
saw on Monday
too.
night.
Dude, the
That's my
Like,
Niners look insane. Sorry, I just
look
say they
insane,
look
but dude,
insane.
that's
yeah,
that's
dude.
that's that's my piece, dude. We'll catch back up in the next pods. Hopefully, it's something to build off in week 2. But I don't know. It's frustrating. It's terrible. It shouldn't have been a loss, but we're here now. So
It's fair enough. So let's just dive into the, I guess, hyped up, or would you want to go hyped up, overhyped, or standout players first?
I
You
got
guys
one
decide.
overhyped player right now.
All right, so let's go overhyped. Will, spit it out.
The biggest one. You know who I'm gonna say.
Say it.
You talked about being a partial owner of a franchise, and
Say it.
you throw for 91 yards. It's Caleb Williams, brother.
Oh, shots fired.
You cannot come out here and without playing an NFL snap, demanding everything that you demanded, saying everything that you said, right? And come out and throw 91 yards in the opening game.
Fuck Caleb Williams.
That's all I'm gonna say, man. That's all I'm gonna say. That's the
I agree.
we'll see how he bounces back week 2, but you can't be talking all that top tier Deion Sanders level shit and then come out and throw under 100 yards.
That's
That's all I'm
facts.
gonna say.
You can't be on Hard Knocks and walk out to a Michael Jordan entrance for the Chicago and be told that he is the next best or is the best talent to walk into Chicago over Michael Jordan. Cannot happen. And you know what, Caleb Williams, you're going to be the reason why Chicago combusts.
Damn.
You're going to be the reason. I'm sorry. I'm not a believer, especially after that performance. The Chicago Bears only won that game off of Will Levis's interception, and that defense was potent. That's all I got to say.
Their defense looks elite, but yeah, fair enough. All right, who's the next name?
Marvin
Matt, you got
Harrison.
anyone?
I mean, if we're sticking to rookies, let's talk about Marvin Harrison. I mean,
All right.
what happened, dude? I get he only got 4 targets, but to get the best receiver prospect in the last 20 years to only get 4 targets in his first game, this is a little weird. Don't you think it's a little weird?
A little weird.
It.
A little weird.
I don't know what the Cardinals are doing, man.
I mean, what Kyler said today about he'll get the ball, but it's not my decision.
That
Brother,
was
it is your
stupid.
decision.
That was
You're throwing
stupid.
the ball.
You're literally the one throwing the football. Yes, I saw that. That's
Like, what are you talking about here? What are you going to talk about here?
That
And
was so stupid.
it broke my heart because I drafted him with my first overall pick in my fantasy league.
That
Broke
sucks.
my heart. Totally broke my heart there. And I thought he was going to put up a new week 1, maybe a 21-point game. No, but you know who did? Xavier Worthy. Anyway, my rookie, or I can feed off the list, Malik Neighbors. I'm sorry, Chad, or I'm sorry, Matt, but like Malik Neighbors did not have a great showing. All he had was that one catch, and that was it. And yes, we can say he's on the Giants.
He had more yards than
Daniel Jones.
he had more yards than Justin Jefferson that game.
Did he?
Yes, he did.
yes, he did.
What? Okay, then I'll take it back. Either way, Malik Neighbors not.
All right.
You're
I
on
mean,
the-
he has
you're
Daniel
the
Jones
best.
throwing to him, so I mean, whatever you say.
Dude, they need.
Okay. Then I'm gonna throw shade at. An ex-Viking, Kirk Cousins.
Oof.
The
Yeah.
Kirk Cousin effect came real in Atlanta. Drake London was a highly drafted person in fantasy drafts. Kirk Cousins was like, oh yeah, this is your Kirk Cousins. Rather you take Minnesota out of Kirk Cousins, you just have some white boy from the streets trying to make a name for himself. An overpaid quarterback. His agent should be, his
the
agent
president.
should walk
should
it.
be the president.
I mean, he
He
made
should
money.
he should have a first ballot Hall of Fame inductee speech.
Yes.
Easily.
So, I don't
So-
know if Kurt's healthy though. I feel like he's still. I feel like he's still. His mobility's a little off still. So I
They
don't
said
know.
he was fine. He started. They said he was fine. Drake London, no excuses for you. I will say Kyle Pitts got some more action than him, which is surprising. But Drake London, you really twisted my toes there. And Kirk, I don't really care.
I
I
think
know.
there's a 60% chance Penix starts this year. At some point.
Fair enough to say. Fair
I
enough
think
to
so. I think we will see Michael Penix at some point too. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
say. So I got 3 more names on this list. I'm just gonna shoot them out. Will, I think you got this one. Your boy Amon Ra. I know you have a lot to say. He put up a dud.
Yeah, he kind of put up a dud, but at the end of the day, I think he's still easily one of the top 5 receivers in the league. I think everyone can have a bad game. That was a much more. I think that the Lions and the Rams was a lot more of a kind of grind and pound kind of defensive
Yeah.
battle. The run games are really big in that. So I think given next week and a different opponent, I still think he's going to have a great year. But yeah, definitely disappointing out the gate for sure. For sure. He got me 6 points in fantasy, 7 points in fantasy, something abysmal. So
Yeah.
I would say, but I'm not, I'm not, he's one that I'm not pushing the panic button on yet, obviously. I think he'll still have a big year.
Fair enough. And then Matt, I don't know if you have his person in front of him on your team, but Brandon Ayuk, you have anything to say about him?
I
After
mean-
his holdout his contract problems, and he puts up one reception.
Yeah, it was weird. I like the game plan that the 49ers implemented against the Jets. They really knew that running the ball that game was going to be the way to win. So I I'm not really going to say that Ayuk's going to have a bad year right now. I mean, he did hold out for a while, but I still don't think that's a reason why players have bad starts unless they actually hold out into the regular season. Um, but McCaffrey makes such a big difference on that team, both in the passing and run game. Debo was playing running back at some point, which I thought was cool. And
Yeah.
Debo got involved a ton. Mason looked great. So I think Ayuk will have his day. But as all good teams in the league, when you have a lot of riches, you have to spread the wealth. I mean, so 49ers are on that sort of, you know,
Agreed.
area again.
Agreed.
That's fair
So
enough.
I think as a team, I mean, if we were talking Ayuk is the most important player on their team, yeah, I'd say that it's a problem, but because they're so talented, I don't think it's a big deal. Same
All
with
right.
Kelsey. Same with Kelsey.
Yeah, I was just about to get there, but some person that I personally do not like is Sauce Gardner. He's the most overhyped NFL player I know. He had three combined, two solos, and faked an injury because he got ran over by Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel, he got ran over. The dude folded like paper. He cried about his shoulder, had people coming up to him, the trainers and what. I think Sauce Gardner was too overhyped to this day and way before when he was drafted because he's a Jet. And now I think we're going to see a little
Decline.
decline, yeah, a little decrease in his performance. Truthfully, I can see it. He just has to prove me wrong now. I mean, he had one contested ball thrown to him. Okay, cool beans, but you can't make a solo tackle on one of the shortest or smallest wide receivers in the NFL football league.
Dude, he just
Are
didn't
you
want to
kidding?
tackle Debo. That's why.
Debo
And then
built
he cried.
different, bro. Debo built
Debo's
different.
Debo's
And
different,
then
bro.
and then
Different,
he
bro.
cried about it. He cried about it, bro. He cried about it. He cried.
Uh,
Anyway, now let's get to the studs, the standouts this week. I mean, Matt, you said it before. Saquon Barkley.
Dude
That
has
what a
that
great.
burst back. He has that burst back,
Yeah,
bro. He's
he
looking
looked
great.
insane. I'm telling you right now, man. I was talking to Greg. We were watching that game last week. Genuinely, and again, this may sound a little bit crazy, but not really. If Saquon keeps on the trajectory that he was week one, he could legitimately be in MVP contention.
Oh yeah. Oh
Adrian
yeah.
Peterson.
He's
100%.
gonna have a McCaffrey
Yeah.
year.
Adrian
Not
Peterson's
as
gonna
much
be.
as volume, but in
Adrian
terms of
Peterson's gonna
production,
be.
yeah, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
But in terms of volume, you can't have him play that many snaps in a game, or else he'll get hurt. So I
I
think they're gonna try to limit the volume. They're gonna limit the volume, but his production is gonna be off the charts still. I
I
just believe
mean,
it.
I said this when he was coming out of the draft. He is probably a little bit better because of how short he is than Adrian Peterson, but same body style, same play
Dude,
style.
he's
I
the same
loved him
height,
as
I
a
think.
player.
I think they're both
Yeah,
6'1".
Stockier, sorry. Stockier is the name because he's more built. I guess on the legs and quad situation, he's like a smaller Brandon Jacobs. In my sense, I think I'm in agreement with well there. I think he does have the MVP. Could rule the NFC.
Yeah,
Could rule the NFC.
I think Saquon's gonna get 20 plus touchdowns this year. I think that's
yeah,
gonna happen.
easily.
Yeah.
Easily. He had that unreal catch, dude. That catch in the end zone for his
Yeah,
was
he's just a mismatch.
unreal, bro.
When he does that wheel route, it's game over. I mean, no one's gonna stop him. So it's crazy.
Another one I'd like to give you, Matt, is a little Jaden Reed who was sitting on your bench.
I love Jaden Reed. I think he's Debo 2.0. Debo Jr., I should say. He's not 2.0. He's Debo Jr. because they use him just like Debo.
Yep.
But I think Jaden Reed is going to still be a really good player even without Love, because the way they utilized him, you know, he's gonna get the ball short and he's just gonna make plays all over the field. So he's still gonna be a very good player even without Love. And yeah, number one receiver this week. on fantasy. I mean, what else do you got to say? I mean, he balled out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I total agreement. Moving a little bit backwards here because we know we have a Bengal in the house. Let's talk about your big boy Joe Mix in Houston.
Yeah, same thing. I think back in coming with what Matt Yu was saying, I'll always be a Joe Mixon fan. I mean, he gave us 7, 8 great years in Cincinnati. He's a great player. He balled out. I mean, he scored 24 points for me in fantasy, man. I mean, he really balled out down there in Houston. I think he's going to have a fantastic season. It's a shame that we had to let him go, and it's a shame that he's not a part of our franchise anymore. But I think he's a great running back. He always will be, in my eyes. He was solid.
Easily. I
He
think
was solid.
especially in that offense with CJ Stroud, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, and of course Tank Dell, that he's gonna be in a better situation than what he was coming from in Cincinnati.
It's just
That's
so
just
many
me.
weapons, man. It's so many
Yeah.
weapons. I mean, it's kind of similar to what we had on that Super Bowl run team, right? With all the
Yeah.
weapons that we had, the young studs, young quarterback, like, and
All
he
that,
took
yeah.
over. He took over that role at running back, where if they were double covering Jamar, or in this case, if they're double covering any of the receivers that they have, Nico or Stephon, whoever their number one guy down the stretch is really going to be. He's your safety net, right? He's going to be the guy that can get you a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7 down run, with ease, and break long runs. So I think he's always going to be a great talent in my book. And same thing as Saquon Barkley with you, Matt. You always be rooting for the guy, man. Always.
Yep.
I want you to show some love as well to Baker Mayfield,
Dude,
if you
dude's a
can.
gamer.
Balled out,
I love
balled
Baker.
out, man.
I wish he was on the
Balled
Giants,
out.
honestly.
Uh, Baker Mayfield, man, I gotta stand behind him. I gotta stand behind this dude. The dude had a you know great season last year, signed a big money deal, and we all said the Bucks are gonna descend to decline. He balled out week one. The dude
Yeah,
was throwing bombs. He was right there. I'm gonna give it to Baker Mayfield,
And
man.
don't
Isn't he the
sleep
number
on
one?
him for against the
No,
Lions, dude. Do not sleep on the Bucks against the Lions.
no,
That's a real competition.
absolutely not.
But what are
that's
you
a
gonna?
I'll
really
take
great game.
Yeah,
I'll take
Yeah,
that. I'll take that.
I mean, Baker's truly been one of those quarterbacks that's like just really, really refound himself after
Oh
just a
yeah,
few years of not really doing much in the league, kind of bouncing around here and there, have a good game here and there with the Panthers, with the Rams,
Rams.
and now he's just absolutely caught stride again, and it's good to see because coming out of college when he got drafted, that when we brought it up before, when he led the Browns to that playoff game back in 2018. I mean, we were all saying that he was going to be fantastic after that rookie year. And then obviously stuff happened. Situation in Cleveland declined and he got moved around. But I think now he's finally found that swagger back, man. He really has
I
from the
think
oh
Oklahoma
yeah,
days.
he's a true leader for
I
that team too.
Yeah.
in my eyes, I think he's an electrified quarterback.
He's a great
He's
quarterback.
Yeah.
he's great. He's fun to watch. He's a funny player off of any type of celebrations. The way he gets into it, his sportsmanship. Like I think he's a great player, and I'm a sole believer in Baker Mayfield this year. And I'm pumped to see him when we go to Tampa. That's going to be a great
Yeah.
time.
It's going to be fun, man.
Um,
It's going to be super fun.
I know Matt, you brought over Jordan Mason, but this also bleeds into our injury report about CMC. But we'll get that in a little bit. I do want to say Lamar balled out on Thursday Night Football. The dude was running. He had 100 and something yards. He didn't score, I don't believe, but you know. Then I'll also say this: Isaiah Likely balled out. Nobody thought that was going to happen. Mark Andrews comes back after injury. Okay, he gets. We have Isaiah Likely, and those two are going to be a problem. On top of what they have already with Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers. Will, it's going to be a situation that you're going to have to keep an eye on. But I like Lamar this year. I like him. As much as I hate to say it, I like Likely because I have Andrews. You better pick that guy up on the waivers. You better go and grab him right now. Isaiah Likely, if he's on there, better.
I gotta say
He is.
too.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I have to say Ravens O line looks terrible. Terrible.
Yeah,
I'm
but
actually worried about their O line.
when you have a quarterback like Lamar,
But what's the point of
easier
Derrick
said than
Henry then?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Like you got
we,
three new
we
starters on the O line and they just do not look good right
see.
now.
We talked. we talked about this, right? When we were setting up the lines, and I think they just do the one little play, they fake it off. Lamar runs on a 1 yard stand in the goal line. That's what you're gonna do. That's what you're gonna do. A little fake, or if it's an intentional run for Lamar, you can just back to Derrick Henry. And we've seen Derrick Henry throw the ball, maybe a little passes, but dude, that could be a little situation in Baltimore that's very serious when it comes to competition in the AFC, not including the North, just the whole conference in general.
Ravens are gonna be good. They'll make the playoffs.
They'll
for
still,
sure.
yeah, they'll still be great.
Yeah.
Easily. And then I guess I'll speak about this guy. I was high on him when he came out, but Jameson Williams showed up for the Lions.
Really good.
Jameson Williams had a great day against the Rams, and all I gotta say is he made Amon Ra. Maybe that's what they do in Detroit. They take turns. They like to, all right, you want to walk across the street. I don't want to hold your hand. Whatever it is, it is. Spreading out the ball, showing the love is maybe that's what they did. Sam Laporta, I know, didn't have such a great game, so maybe JMO and his speed really got around the D-backs for LA, and that's what happened. And then, as we said, Jordan Mason, great showing for his first
Crazy.
game of the year, backing up a Achilles tendonitis injury from CMC. That was a big backbreaker for a lot of people who have him in Dynasty or. I mean, you can't really say much about that. He's injury prone. I don't even know how old he is. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Either
28.
one of you.
I think he's 28,
Is he?
29, I think. Yeah.
Somewhere up there,
All right.
28, 29, yeah.
That's a problem. And I mean, I'm a CMC lover, but I can't always stand behind someone who's so injured. I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's two other injuries: Jordan Love and Puka Nakua. Matt, I know you'd love to talk about Puka, so go for it.
I should have it's crazy to think that he had a knee injury coming into week 1 and they didn't give him more time to heal up.
Agreed.
I That's what kind of gets me pissed off a little bit cuz
I don't get
now
I don't get why these franchises be doing that recently, man. We saw it with
yeah.
Tua, Joe Burrow, now Puka, the same kind of similar situation where the franchise are kind of covering things up, down the line and then throwing them out in games where should they be playing? Should they not be playing?
Yeah, it
Like
makes
I
no
don't like that.
sense.
It's shady shit, man.
Yeah, I don't get it. And they don't need him to win games right now. I mean, they have tons of great players, the Rams. So you could have sat him out for at least, 4 weeks into the season, put him on IR maybe, and let him heal fully before getting him back out there for a playoff push. Because I know for sure the 49ers are just going to put CMC on injury reserve and then bring him back when he's really healthy. Like, it could be week
Yeah.
10. Because they
Yeah.
don't need him for anything but the playoffs or in the Super Bowl. That's all they need him for. So
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen, I think, with 49ers. But in terms of the Rams, yeah, it's unfortunate. Like, Puka should have sat out for a good few weeks before coming back, which sucks.
I think that's more the McVay that Robert Woods. You remember those eras? Robert Woods Cup. One was injured, one was not.
Yeah.
Seeing the same thing. Like Cooper Cup had a off season last season, but he was put on IR, and he went into week 1 with a hamstring.
Yeah, I know. And Cooper
So
Cup's going to have to really carry that
easily.
Now,
the load
yeah.
now. It's like, whoa, he's going to get a lot of touches.
And then I don't know who is their tight end that they just picked. Dickers.
Nah, I forget his name, but yeah.
Colby Parkinson, I think it is.
Yeah.
And that's another one to keep in mind for fantasy football. But Will, question to you: do you think the Packers lose hope with the Jordan Love injury, or do you think he's back and they go for a little bit of a
I say that he comes back and they go for a little bit of a run, man. I mean, I was concerned when I saw the injury live. We were watching the game. I for sure the way that I saw just the way that his knee went that he was like torn MCL, like done for the year. The fact that it's only sprained is a good sign. But the same thing that we were talking about with CMC with a lot of these guys, he just can't be rushed back if they want a chance at the playoffs, right? Like obviously now they're going to be going through weeks 2, 3, 4, 5. I would say the next 4 weeks or so without him. So it's like, okay, do we kind of concede those games and then get him fully healthy for the rest of the season? I think, yeah, I think that's what they need to do, and I think they'll have a resurgence at the end of the year. I still think the Packers are a playoff team in the NFC. I really do.
Okay.
I think they
I
can
do
be for
too.
sure.
I do
Do you
too.
think of a suit? You think they can push for a Super Bowl, the Packers?
Anything's possible. I mean, they could. In the NFC, I think it's definitely a lot more chance for a team like that to capitalize, especially if they catch fire at the end of the year like they did last year and they smack up the Cowboys in the wild card. It's all about catching fire at the end of the year, and if they have to rest Jordan Love for an extra week to do it, why would you not?
Yeah, I agree.
I agree as well. Okay. I mean, I don't want to agree, but I have to. Just because it's the Green Bay Packers and my equation said it. But now since you're talking the equation, Thursday Night Football is tomorrow. I don't say why not, and we just discussed a little of the best bets. If you're taking anybody, if you're some insights, if it's an anytime touchdown, over passing yards, over yards or wide receivers, or even just a side, take it as you choose.
Over 48.5 total points.
Interesting.
Locked it in. Lock it in.
Okay. Over 48.5 total points.
I think
Matt, you got
seeing Josh Allen ball out and seeing I think Tua ball out, I think it's gonna be a high score. I just have a feeling. I got a feeling.
Okay. Okay. And it's a divisional game, and it's in Miami.
And it's in
So
Miami. Yep. No cold to be seen.
Yeah, I
I can
haven't
see it.
I haven't really thought about much of the game for betting, but I gotta say, like, I really think Miami's gonna be great this year. So as much
Yeah.
as people love Josh Allen, and how well he's played against Miami in recent memory, I think Miami wins this game. I'm I bets are not like just prediction wise. I think Miami still wins this game. So I forget what the
Okay.
line is. I think it's like 3.5 or something. I forget, or it's one and two
It's
and a
at
half.
it got pushed down on FanDuel to 2.5. And I believe it's leaning.
Miami, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, it's 2.5, I think, right now.
yeah.
It's
I
fair. It's
still
fair.
like Miami. I like Miami to win that though. Still.
I like Buffalo.
Yeah,
I'm
I
I
like
gonna
mean,
Buffalo
throw
and then over 48.5.
I'm gonna throw these props out. You guys tell me what you guys think. Josh Allen, anytime touchdown, running it in. Do you believe it's gonna happen after coming off a game where he ran in two in Miami?
No.
yeah, I'd go with no.
I'd go with no with this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Despite the A Chain and Mostert news, if A Chain plays, would you hear me out? This has hit two of the both games he's played in Buffalo last season.
You
Wait, what
said
was
A
it?
chain anytime?
A Chain anytime touchdown. It has hit in both of his games last season because that's the only data we have. His rookie season, it has hit in both those games. He's 2 for 2.
I would say yeah. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a bit of a more high scoring game, so I'd take that. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I like that.
Mostert is out. They have Jeff Wilson, but Jeff Wilson is not a passing back. You put A Chain as a passing. Predominantly think he plays in Miami. Do a little screen, he's off to the races. So I like A Chain more, but that's just a prop I want to hand. Now, what do you think of these shootout for these passing for both of the quarterbacks? Who is at 266.5? Are you taking that over?
Yes.
He just passed for, I believe, 3 something.
Yeah, I'm taking yeah, I am.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he passed for 330. Could be wrong, but I'm 100% sure it's. I'm probably going to lean to it. And then Josh Allen at over 245.5.
Yes.
I mean,
You
I
if
think
take
it's gonna be
we're
a high score. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game, dude. I think it's
yeah,
gonna
if
be
you think
offense happy.
if you think it's high scoring, then definitely both.
I think so.
and
I think it will be.
Matt, you're on that side as well. Both of them.
Yeah, I like the idea of it being high scoring. So I
The only
definitely
thing is
what?
they got Jalen Ramsey in the secondary now.
Yeah. I mean, if Josh Allen would be the one, I probably wouldn't consider going over, but Tua definitely. Like I would consider Tua going over. But yeah, I would just have to look at some of the past games they've played. I'm not sure.
Okay. And then speaking about Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir over his 40 and a half receiving yard. This is hit in the last two times. Sorry, this is hit two times in the last three games versus
I'd say,
Miami.
I would say, yeah. I'd take the over on that.
I mean,
40 yards.
40
Yeah.
yards, yeah, maybe. I just don't
40
know
yards.
who is like what their primary target is on the Bills right now. Like,
Keon Coleman.
is it though?
It was proven this past week that Keon Coleman's their
How
number
many?
one.
Do you know how many targets he got last week?
Not off the top of my head, someone wants to
Uh,
stat correct me on that one.
um,
Also, you got to think of Dalton Kincaid.
yeah, Kincaid had a quiet game, didn't he? So,
Yep.
I mean, he
This
might
is where
have a game.
I might toy with a little, anytime, and I think it's 6.5. They're
$46.
all these Bill wide receivers are over 40 something and a half. They're all in the 40 range. Like it's very
Yeah,
doable. It's very doable.
but like we've been saying, like if we think it's gonna be a high scoring game, then I mean,
Yeah, we
you
can't
could.
all lean there.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. I think you stick with one of their whoever you think is going to be the primary target for their game plan, and you just go for it and you take the over in that. I wouldn't. I would just choose one person though. I don't know if Keon Coleman's going to be the guy, especially if he's their number one and Jalen
Yeah,
Ramsey's on him or something. You know, it's like so.
very true.
But yeah, I'm not sure. It's
One
tough.
last one. One last one for my prediction until my predictions for Jalen Waddle over 3.5 receptions.
Over.
I think it's I
Yeah.
think that's kind of ridiculous that they put it out at 3.5. The dude
Why?
just
Because
came
he only
back
had
after
four last game. Is that why?
he came back after a concussion protocol thought process and ended up eclipsing 100. I'm gonna take the 3.5
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, and then to end this up, algorithm projected Dolphins money line. I'm still gonna lean Bills plus 4.5. I'll do an spread, and then the correct score we're gonna see the Dolphins at 24, Bills 21. I think this one slaps. I think possibly we get a little bit more, juice around this. If it's a high scoring game, it doesn't bleed into Will's comment of the 48, but it's still a high scoring game. That's 3 touchdowns total on both teams. Why not? I like it.
Yeah.
You guys tell me otherwise. I
No,
know you're on the
I'm
Bills, Will.
I'd say, like I said, I think it's going to be high scoring. I would say maybe looking at like a 34-31, 35-31 type of thing.
I
All
hope
right.
so.
I like I said, I hope so too. But I think both these offenses have the weapons, have been playing well in their week one games, and I think that they're going to let them loose. Both coaches are going to look to, I think, air it out maybe and get on the board pretty quick.
Fair enough. I'm in agreement, and I hope it slaps for at least the audience and my pocket for this week when I go up to Foxborough. Catch me in July.
Dude, one closing word from me. This is the last thing I'm going to say for the night, dude. Joe Alt is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Dude, Max
He, he,
Crosby
he,
he
he,
had week one. Sheesh, he locked him down.
dude, he is going to be the best offensive lineman in the league, undoubtedly.
I don't think he played right tackle too in college, right? He played left.
No, he played left, dude.
Dude,
He
he stopped
is
Max
going.
Crosby, bro, at
Dude,
right tackle.
he ate Max Crosby alive. There's a couple clips
That's
that I saw where
crazy.
Max Crosby was going to bull rush him. Joe Alt somehow got lower than Max Crosby and lapped him, dude. Joe Alt is going to be 15 years of Hall of Fame football, man. I'm telling you right now.
I like that.
But that's it from me, man. That's it
I
from
like
me.
that.
I like it as well. But hey, to wrap it up, and thank you all for joining. Discord down below if you guys want to join in. We just started a Pick'ems challenge as well. So
Yeah, make
Matt
sure to
started it up.
participate. because it's I want to get as many people as possible in the pick'em stuff, so that way we could have a consistent amount of people involved, and then eventually we'll add prizes to it. But I want to get like 50 people involved at least, so make sure to do it.
Easily. We could have like a half. Was it the last half of the season? We have.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
take
by half
that
of the season.
anytime.
Yep.
There's a free entry, and
Yeah, just participate.
for
You don't
all.
gotta do anything. Just join the server and go to the NFL Pick'em spot and just click all your
Join us.
picks. And then all the rules for it are under the guide. So yeah,
Yeah,
and that's all you gotta do.
Betty.
Yep.
for sure. Well, thank you all again, and yeah, catch you next time, and hope you guys join our
Yep.
Doses.